so much for being available to speak to me today. Are you available? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you fine. It's great to see you, Nell. It's been great to have you in the course. You've definitely been a really positive contributing presence.
Thank you. So I enjoy the conversations that I have with my classmates and the support that I'm getting from everybody. I think I was a little bit reluctant um, to join at some times because it's like really hard at times to. I guess the right word here is overwhelming, the LSAT itself, and I think that I've been having a lot of support and a lot of encouragement from a lot of you, and so I'm extremely grateful for that. Thank you for the opportunity to be on this course with you and everybody that's on this marathon to passing the LSAT.
Of course, sure. So tell me, how could I support you right now? What's the biggest challenge you're facing?
Yeah, I think I took a break from the LSAT for about a month. I believe that I was doing, I don't know, maybe this is a thing with other prospective law students, is that we tend to overwhelm ourselves with a lot. And, trying to go above and beyond, really hard on ourselves. So I decided to take a step back. And before I took a step back for about a month, I was working on the foundations and I was going through your prep course, trying to understand what would be the best way to go through all of the videos and resources on that website, while also using the PDF that gives us the structure of how to go about studying for the LSAT, right? And so for me, I think one of the things that I would need support with is maybe in your, getting some of your feedback on how to approach that in the most efficient way possible, because I have spent a few hours just doing my own research and going through the videos, taking notes on the videos, attending the classes, but I'm not sure if that's really helping me at this moment. So I'm trying to figure out the best strategy, because also keeping in mind that I think one of the best things that I'm thinking about is breaking it up into pieces, so that it's not oh my God, it's a whole website full of videos. How else can I use this, all of this resource? Because it's everything you ever wanted as a law student, as a prospective law student, to help you get there, because just finding the resources by yourself, and there's a lot of things out there. So what is your approach to that? And maybe you've had other students ask you this question before, but that, and also with time management.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of resources inside the course. As you know, I err on the side of creating more rather than less. So yes. I want it to be available to you if it would be useful to use that resource. But there are hundreds of videos in the course, hundreds of hours of material, and I don't think anybody's going to complete them all. And that's okay. You don't need to. So don't place an obligation on yourself to do every single course lesson video, just like I don't want you to feel you have to do all 95 plus prep tests. At a certain point, enough is enough. So step back, take it one day at a time, work through the schedule, cover the foundation videos because those give you the basics. Mm-hmm. And then if you want more, then dig into whatever suits your interests, dig into whatever you feel would be most useful to you. Then the other stuff you can get to later. And if you never get to it, that could be fine too. Mm-hmm. Largely, I want you to simply work through the material in the order given.
Right. And so I think, all right, that's a good point. So what about building foundations then? If I think the goal here is to build a foundation where I can go through the problems in each of those drills by myself, right? Or know how to explain it to somebody else. I think at this point, because I've started and I stopped, and then I keep pushing the reset button a lot. And so I want to get to a point where I'm not pushing the reset button anymore. And I'm just consistently going with it. And so having you say that is, really good approach, I think, to not feel obligated to go through all of it. So if I don't have to go through all of it, what's the best way to build these foundations that are essential to being successful in this LSAT exam?
Yeah, so I would say start with the foundation lesson videos. I have the Logic Games Foundation section of the course, Logical Reasoning Foundation, Reading Comprehension Foundation. Those videos I would consider essential. Beyond that, if you discover that you have particular trouble in, let's say, logical reasoning, watch the Logical Reasoning Masterclass. If it's Reading Comp, watch the Reading Comp Masterclass. Same for Logic Games. Then I have many other videos explaining specific LSAT problems, as well as videos on other aspects of prep, like the digital format, the flex format, and such.
Okay.
So go to those afterwards as a supplement.
Okay. How do you, so then we use those, but how do you pair that and match that to help us go over what's in some of these books, right? So, because I'm like, I know that there's a PDF that you gave me, the plan and how to go about it. Like, and so I was going through some of these drills on the, because of logical reasoning. And I was thinking, like, these are kind of hard. And I'm like, geez, like, what am I the only one that feels this way? And so I don't think I am, because I like going to the Tuesday to Thursday classes. Like I've been hearing that some of these are really hard, and even LSAT has pointed out that they're just like not supposed to be easy, right? So how do I use your foundations to approach these? Obviously, they're not going to give me the answer, but like, I don't know, like watching the video, I feel like there should be some type of like, I don't know, correlation between how to step one, step two, how to do all of that. And I don't know, maybe that's not the way, but there's probably a better way to go about it. So I don't know how to connect both like the videos and the book that I'm doing here. What do you think about that?
Sure. Yeah, great question. So the foundation lessons cover the theory and cover the general approach. So you start there to gain a basic familiarity with the different sections and the different question types. So if you're going through a logical reasoning section from the official LSAT prep tests and nothing is clicking, or a majority of it isn't clicking, that would suggest there's still foundational material to work on. But if you're simply noting certain weak areas, certain particular problems where you want explanations, then scroll down later in the course where more of the focus is on specific LSAT question explanations, because by that point, you've already largely got the foundation and you may just want to walk through on that particular question. So the explanations come later in the course, but you've got to build the foundation first.
Okay. So what would be like the ideal schedule for somebody to build foundations starting out? I think you provided a PDF that said like start doing some drills on prep test 62 to 71, and I have actually done. I'll show you. It's a question on page 25, questions 7 through 13, regarding the 5 colors of glass and how to organize those. So like, I think one of the ways that I went about this, and I'm just going to explain this to you because I don't know what other way to really ask this question without having to explain the background to it. So I understand the different ways to go about it. One would be to like look at the rules that they're giving you, the conditions, right? Look at the conditions and then look at the different questions. Going through all of these, I would go back to the conditions and cross off the conditions based on the multiple choice options. Like which one's violating that rule that wouldn't be right. And I think that's one way to build a foundation, but do you have like maybe a different approach to that?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've got video explanations for the vast majority of exams. They're linked in the schedule, by the way, and I can send the link to you as well in case you didn't see it. But I've got detailed video walkthroughs of every logic game from exam 29 up to 74. So that game, and most others are actually covered where I walk through all the questions in the game. And then in the foundation portion of the course, I also have some example questions walked through there too.
Okay, thank you. And then I guess like another question that I have for you related to that is, how long does it take for somebody to build foundations? And what is the time that you recommend for somebody to focus only on foundations? I think the reason why I'm asking it is because I constantly, like I said earlier, I'm like working to it, and then I'm like, oh my goodness, like am I getting there? So I kind of leave it alone for maybe a few weeks, a few days, and I come back to it, and I'm like, okay, let's pick this up again. And so I'm wondering, like, what have you seen, and what is the ideal way to build foundations? I mean, you have all these resources, but really, I don't know how else to build all of this from the bottom up.
Yeah, well, the study plan, the PDF, that gives you my general recommendations on a study plan starting to build a foundation from the beginning. So the idea is you watch the course lesson video on a particular question type, then you do several problems of that type as listed in the schedule containing my categorization. So you're doing the easiest order in games, then the intermediate order in games, then difficult order in games, then easy grouping, intermediate grouping, difficult grouping. So the course lesson videos and the schedule go hand in hand, showing you the videos to watch and then the LSAT exam problems to complete. But as for your question of how long it takes, it can vary from person to person depending on your goals as well as your timeline. So let's say somebody wanted to go from a 130 to a 170. That's a big increase. You want to allow a lot of time for that. 2 to 3 months may not be enough. On the other hand, somebody who wants to go from a 150 to a 160, that maybe could be done in 2 to 3 months. That's a smaller increase, easier points to gain there. So I would ask you, Nell, I mean, what's your timeline? When are you looking to take the LSAT and what are your goals?
Yeah, so I think I would like to enroll in law school for next fall. Um, some of the classmates in the class have mentioned that this year LSAC is not providing an exam date for November, only for December. And so I've been advised to take the LSAT sometime in December so that if I did want to apply for scholarships, that there is like that pool available for me to get in there early enough, get my application in early enough so that I am still eligible for some of the funding that law schools provide, because it's almost like a first come, first serve basis. So that would be my goal for next fall. Submit my application as early as in early 2021, maybe like June, April. I don't know if that's a good timeline to be eligible for all these scholarships that law schools give. But really that is something that I want to do. But I'm thinking in terms of being prepared and feeling 100% confident. I don't know if maybe April would be the best date for me, because it gives me enough time to deal with life, kind of give myself get into that mindset, prepared, because like what I'm starting to realize about this exam is not really just about like knowing the concept. It's really about having the mindset, feeling confident and feeling like really ready for myself. Like it's not, and it has a lot to do with that, be mentally prepared and present for that.
Yeah, so it's about whenever you can put in the time then.
Right. So do you think if I take the exam in December, I could still apply for 2021?
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, I should clarify that that's the first I'm hearing about is this December LSAT date. Mm-hmm. There's the October 3rd, there's November 14th. Neither of those have yet been canceled and rescheduled as flex, but I suspect both of them will be. I'd say 99% October is going to be a flex, 95% November is going to be a flex. So if you feel, I mean, we're speaking now early to mid-August. So if you could be ready for the LSAT in 3 months and you believe that you'd be able to achieve your fullest potential on that, then take the November LSAT, and even if it's flex, it'll be roughly the same date. And then you'll still be able to apply to start law school in fall 2021.
Okay. Yeah, that's super helpful. What do you know about joint degrees, like having applying for law school and then applying for a graduate program in that same law school? Has anybody in your class done that before?
Yeah, I've had plenty of students who've done that. I've done, JD MBA, JD MPH, a lot of different programs, and they all have their own unique requirements. So some might require you do the GMAT also, others might require you do the GRE also. It varies a lot from school to school. These programs are each quite unique. So look into the
Okay.
ones you're considering.
Yeah. All right. Um, so, because those are all my questions for today. Um, I know that we have the class on Tuesday and Thursday. Um, my last question would be, before Tuesday and Thursday, um, what advice do you give students to be prepared to be ready to participate during these classes, online meetings? What do you think has been helpful? What have you seen students do that has made them um, be better prepared?
That's a great question. And the good news is you don't actually need to prepare for my classes. Just bring your biggest challenge, the biggest thing holding you back, and we'll take care of it. And
Mm-hmm.
also be ready to support others as well, because no matter what point you're at, there's still something you understand that you could teach somebody else.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, so just bring a willingness to participate and engage. And even if you're not the one being coached, you can still benefit because you are being coached just indirectly. The challenges that one student faces, many others face as well. So be open and be receptive to the idea that there is something you could take away from it, and that the question that brought you there may not actually be the takeaway you get. So the question you bring may not be the question you actually needed to ask or the question that you needed to be answered. So just be open to possibilities.
Thank you, Steve. I think, having gone through this prep course has been, I think, rewarding. I've attended a few classes, and like I said, I've been in and out of the LSAT prep because I've just been working on like really building my confidence. But I think that being in the class, I guess I can't say this enough, has really helped to build my, my approach to it, and knowing that I'm not the only one that feels the same, like daunted by it, and how to take my power back because it's just an exam. I don't have to feel overwhelmed. It's not like, oh my goodness, this is a big exam. Like your whole life really depends on it. When I started thinking like that, it's like, oh my goodness, it's hard, right? How do I overcome that? So I think having taken like that month off to, okay, relax. It's a big deal, but it doesn't have to take over my life, and it doesn't have to be overwhelming. And so if I have anything to give to my classmates, is that is like, well, let's just take it a step at a time, like you said, one day at a time. And building the foundations is, I guess, anytime we get something started is not easy, but I think it's worth it. So that's why I'm still here, and I'm glad that you're able to offer this type of support with all of the resources online and making yourself available to answer any questions when necessary. So thank you for that.
Of course, and I just want to say, Nell, that you've been a tremendous contributor to the group. You've really added a lot, and I appreciate how powerful you've been showing up. So please keep coming to class, keep at it, and I'll see you in class soon.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. Bye.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.